Are you currently caring for a loved one with dementia? Do you feel overwhelmed, stressed, or unsure of how to handle the challenges that come with dementia caregiving? You're not alone. Millions of people around the world are caring for someone with dementia, and it's not easy. In this video, we'll explore the challenges and rewards of dementia caregiving and provide practical tips and strategies to help you navigate this journey with confidence and compassion. Whether you're a daughter, granddaughter, spouse, or friend, this video is for you. So, grab a cup of tea, sit back, and join us for a heartfelt discussion on caring for a loved one with dementia. First, let's understand what dementia is. Simply put, dementia is a deterioration in cognitive function. This deterioration involves one's thinking, memory, reasoning, and other mental functions. Dementia results in a deterioration severe enough to not only interfere with that person's daily life, but in many cases, the quality of life as well. Rather than it being a single disease, dementia is a condition that can be brought on by a number of underlying medical problems, brain damage, or brain diseases. This condition can, over time, affect the person to such a degree where it results in memory loss, difficulties communicating, decreased judgment, disorientation, changes in mood or behavior, and overall challenges with everyday tasks. As we all have learned recently, the actor Bruce Willis has frontotemporal dementia. This particular form of dementia affects the frontal and temporal lobes of the brain, the area of the brain that's responsible for things like decision-making, language, and social skills. This condition can adversely affect the person's personality and their ability to communicate with others, as they can have difficulty finding the proper words to express themselves. In addition to that, the person can further experience difficulty with their motor skills. While heartbreaking, the plus side of this for Mr. Willis is how his family has rallied around him, creating the best possible environment for him to exist happily and safely within. Now let's talk about you. According to the Alzheimer Association, you're likely the adult daughter, taking care of a parent with dementia. Statistics say that 2/3 of dementia caregivers are women, with over 1/3 of that number being daughters, and a whopping 66% of you daughters live with the parent you're caring for. I have to take a moment just to personally applaud you. You daughters, granddaughters, wives, sisters, nieces, or other family members. You're all superheroes in our book, you really are. I'm sure you're saying you're doing what any good daughter, wife, or family member would do. But you're not. You're part of an elite group of women who are taking care of a helpless loved one, in many cases all by yourself. Digging in and determining to do it for as long as possible. And we applaud you. Now let's look at various aspects of dementia and caregiving. Starting with the effect you taking care of, let's say, a parent, by yourself, is having on you. In many cases the impact on your life is significant. Now before you try to minimize things, hear us out. The point of this discussion is to acknowledge the toll your care for this precious loved one is costing you. We want you to know that we're acknowledging this for you, and on your behalf. And also, we want a sibling or family member who isn't showing up to give you much help, and understanding that caring for a loved one with dementia is hard, difficult and costly. And that they need to partner, and come alongside you, to participate bodily and specifically, in that family member's care. And we're not talking about just showing up to throw money at them, or sit an hour with the parent, like a babysitter, and then not show up for the rest of the month. Rather, we want your family to see how taxing you bearing the brunt of care and responsibilities this is having on you, being the sole or major caregiver of the family member with dementia. First and foremost, there's the emotional and mental health toll being a caregiver can take on you daughters, caring for parents with dementia. You're likely experiencing various levels of stress, anxiety, sadness, and possibly struggling with certain mental health issues yourself, as a result of being a long-term caregiver. The physical toll can include lingering exhaustion, sleep disruptions, and other physical health issues. On top of that is possibly the career and potential financial cost you're experiencing in caring for a parent with dementia. Perhaps you've had to cut back on the hours you work, or you may have had to quit your job altogether, putting a strain on your finances and limiting your chances for advancement in the career you've always dreamed of. Or even worse, maybe you've given up on your chosen career path, hopes and dreams altogether. Being a primary caregiver can prove a challenge for your personal relationships. Your marriage or the relationship with your romantic partner can be strained due to you being less accessible in the relationship. The additional duties required for your parents' care and the resultant stress can ultimately result in a breakdown in communication, as well as a host of other marital or relationship issues. Your children may feel resentful because of the amount of time and attention their mom has to spend caring for their grandparent, resulting in their mom spending less and less time with them. Your children could experience feelings of abandonment, anger at having their routines disrupted, and they could be struggling to understand how their family is changing and what it means for them. Then there's your long-time friendships. Being a caretaker can result in being less able to invest the time and effort necessary to sustain the connections with your close friends. For one, you don't have much time for socializing with your friends like you did in the past. And honestly, you just don't have the energy. In addition to that, caregiving can take up a significant amount of time, leaving you with less time for personal hobbies, interests, and self-care activities. Then lastly, there's the impact being a sole caregiver can have on one's future planning. Things like how to provide ongoing care for your parent and the impact on being their caregiver is fore and foremost in your mind, not family summer vacations or future retirement plans. Ultimately, your spouse, kids, and close friends should all be made aware of your caretaking responsibilities, honestly and in detail. You're not to be a lone rider here, instead you are all in this together. So you should all be working together, in cooperation, to discover ways to not only care for your loved one with dementia, but going forward, how to sustain positive connections with the outside world, and to support one another. Also, the tensions and difficulties of caregiving can be lessened in some cases by seeking outside support, such as support groups or respite care services. This can give you, as the caregiver, time to concentrate on and find ways to enrich other elements of your life. It's important for you as a caregiver to communicate with your spouse, children, family members, and close friends about your caregiving responsibilities and how you all need to work together as a village to support each other and participate jointly in the care of the loved one with dementia. And as for you, dear, you need to be willing to seek outside support, such as from support groups or respite care services, all of which can help alleviate some of the stresses and challenges of you being a sole or primary caregiver, thus providing you the time to focus on other aspects of your life. This can only result in a healthier, happier, more balanced you. Better able to engage and be there for your loved one with dementia. While we're talking about you, let's talk about you and your self-care. Before you start balking at the idea, know that your self-care is essential for you, and whether you believe it or not, it's residually helpful to the person you're taking care of. Let's take a brief look. First, you need to make self-care a priority. I know this may sound strange to you as you're the primary caregiver to your parent, and you've made them a priority in your life. But hear us, dear, it's critical for you that you schedule time for self-care activities. Things like exercise, hobbies, relaxation techniques, socializing with friends, or engaging with support networks. Know that a good and healthy you, a happy and cheerful you, can show up and function better as a caregiver to your parent. Then, and we can't say this strongly enough, get help. It's critical for you to look to loved ones, friends, or healthcare professionals for help and assistance. This can include counseling, respite care services, support groups for caregivers, or other tools or resources that can lessen some of the caregiving pressures on your shoulders. Then you need to plan in breaks. As you well know, caregiving can be demanding and equally overwhelming, so it's critical that you take regular breaks to revitalize and rest. This can entail planning regular rest periods, locating a backup caregiver, or using respite care services. Next, you need to keep up a healthy lifestyle. Frequent exercise, a nutritious diet, and adequate rest can all work together to help reduce stress and improve your overall health and well-being. On that note, you need to exercise self-compassion. Being a caregiver can be emotionally and psychologically taxing, so it's crucial to be kind to yourself. This can involve accepting and validating your own emotions, forgiving yourself, and taking part in activities that support your emotional health. Then this goes without saying, you have got to find ways to manage stress. On the best of days, caregiving can be difficult, therefore it's critical to learn stress management techniques. This can involve practicing relaxing methods like meditation or deep breathing, engaging in physical activity, or seeking counseling or other professional assistance for yourself. Please don't be embarrassed or afraid to acknowledge you need help. Listen, dear, you never thought in a million years your whole entire life would change and revolve around caring for your parent the way it has. You weren't mentally or emotionally prepared for any of this. Yet here you are. By all means, tend to you. Speak with a counselor, join a support group, whatever it takes to ensure your mental wellness. Remember, self-care is not selfish care. Instead, it's essential for maintaining one's own health and well-being as a caregiver. By taking care of yourself, you can better care for your loved ones with dementia. Now, what does any of this look like when you're taking care of a husband with dementia, instead of a parent? While there's similarities, there are some major differences when it's a spouse who has dementia. And these differences can impact the caregiving experience. One of the biggest challenges when tending to a spouse with dementia is a change in the dynamic of the relationship, as the partner grows more and more dependent on the caregiver. There's a deeper emotional connection here as well as marital history, each of which can make the care experience more difficult. A wife caring for a husband with dementia may witness her spouse battling with memory loss, confusion, personality changes, and other dementia-related symptoms. This can not only be extremely taxing, this can also be painful as well as scary for a wife to witness, putting her through a lot of mental stress and anxiety. Then there's the physical demands on the wife when caring for a husband with dementia, especially as his condition progresses and he becomes more dependent on his wife for daily care. She might have to assist him with things like bathing, dressing, grooming, and using the restroom. This can be difficult and emotionally taxing for the caregiver, depending on the state of the marriage before the husband's onset of dementia. The physical aspect can be challenging for the wife, particularly if the husband is heavier or bigger than she is. As a result, she can experience chronic fatigue, muscle pain, and other physical symptoms related to caring for her husband. Lastly, there's the potential lack of a support system. While caring for a parent can include greater involvement from siblings or other family members, caring for a spouse may be more solitary and involve fewer external support systems. Then there's the time demands upon the wife, with her potentially having to be available around the clock, as she provides care and support to her husband. This can be challenging if the wife is also juggling other responsibilities, such as work or caring for children. Add to that how emotionally distressing all this can be, as the wife witnesses the decline and struggles the man she loves has to endure. In many cases her heart breaks as she remembers the man he was, and the man he is now, with the effects of the dementia on his personality, behavior, and health. This can lead to her being beset with chronic stress, depression, high blood pressure, anxiety, and other emotional and chronic health issues. Then there's the financial aspect of having a spouse with dementia. Taking care of a husband who has dementia can be costly due to medical care and bills, medicines, and other support services. Financially speaking, this can be difficult for the woman, as it's a potential strain on her finances and can limit her ability to participate in other activities or pursue things she might be interested in, as she's now in charge of and possibly responsible for managing all the family expenses. Then there's the very real isolation the wife experiences. Taking care of a husband who suffers from dementia can be isolating due to the wife not having time or even the energy to spend with family and friends. The wife's mental and emotional health may suffer as a result of her feeling lonely and cut off from life and activities going on outside her home. Having said all that, what I'm going to say next might be a bit contentious, but fully hear us out. Wives should prioritize their own needs, look for assistance, and use tools that can lessen some of the burdens associated with caregiving. We're not suggesting prioritizing all of your needs over the needs and medical condition of your husband. We're nowhere near saying anything like that. What we are saying is prioritize you. You and your needs and cares, even some of your wants and desires shouldn't all be at the end of the list, or no longer even on a list, because they no longer exist. Sprinkle some of them toward the upper part of the list. Listen, being a caregiver shouldn't be either, or, all or nothing. Like everything else in life, it should be a blend of it all. You and him, the new way things are now, working it out and forging on, ahead into the future. All good and healthy for all parties involved. You don't stop being the fullness of who and what you are because your husband has dementia. Your husband's state and medical condition is simply another brick in the wall. Something to be worked in, and to be worked on. Lovingly, healthily, together. You love your husband, and will do anything and everything to help him. But you need help and care as well, and you're no good to him if you crash and burn under the pressure of being his caregiver. The reality is this: caring for a husband with dementia can be a long-term and progressively debilitating experience for a wife. Therefore, the wife needs to be healthy, mentally, physically and emotionally, to endure for the long haul. So, what about finding a space for peace, contentment and joy as a caregiver for a parent or spouse with dementia? You may be asking if something like that is even possible. Dare we say it is? How's that? You may be asking us. Well, for one, there's acceptance. You need to accept the situation as it is, and accept your loved one's condition, as is. Here, dears, acceptance doesn't mean giving up hope or not trying to make things better, it simply means accepting that things are the way they are right now. And deal with life in that right here, right now space. Then, you want to celebrate the small wins, being intentionally on the lookout for the everyday small victories, like your mum having a moment of clarity, or you and your husband sharing a positive interaction. Sure, these moments can be few and far between, but they can bring you immense joy. Then you want to focus on the present, instead of focusing on the past, or worrying about tomorrow. Be in the moment with that family member. Challenge yourself to enjoy the little moments of joy you can experience with your loved one. And smile. Then you want to practice gratitude. Dear, take a moment each day to reflect on what you're grateful for. Speak it out loud. Gratitude, like being in the present moment, can help shift your focus to the positive aspects of your role as a caregiver. Then you want to be sure to take care of yourself. Self-care is crucial for you as a caregiver. Practicing things like mindfulness can help you stay grounded in the present moment and bring you a sense of calm and peace. Take a few minutes each day to meditate or practice deep breathing exercises. You can go outside for a few quiet moments just to smell the flowers and breathe the air. And you want to make sure you're getting enough rest, eating healthy, and doing activities that bring you joy and relaxation. By taking care of your own physical, emotional, and mental health, you will be better equipped to find sustained joy in your role as a caregiver. On that note, we encourage you to discover the comedy in your situation. Humor can be used as a powerful weapon to help you find happiness in the midst of your challenging life. Seek out the funnier aspects of caregiving, the chuckle-worthy antics of your parent or spouse, and let yourself laugh. Then, and we can't say this enough, you want to connect with others. Being someone's sole or primary caregiver can leave you feeling isolated and lonely, but getting to know people who are going through the same things you are can provide you with a sense of comfort and peace. Adding to that, you want to seek relief as needed, from others, whether it's a support group, or family and friends who can spell you for a bit or even adult respite. Then lastly, you want to embrace your role, and the responsibility as a caregiver. Being a caregiver can be extremely gratifying, even though it has its difficult moments. By truly throwing yourself into your role, you can find deeper meaning in the work you're doing, and the life you're now living. We know that finding joy as a caregiver for a family member with dementia is not easy. We dare say it takes time and enormous effort on your part. But by practicing self-care, mindfulness, gratitude, and seeking support from others, we firmly believe you can find a sense of peace and contentment in your caregiving journey. Won't you consider subscribing to the channel and liking this video if you've been encouraged by the content? Until next time.